Part of this week's module, challenge what you know about language, literacy, and society. At first, this week's module, Module 6, seemed like it jumped all over the place, but after doing the readings and rewatching the lecture video, I could see an overarching theme. Youth have their own culture, which is different from adults. They use pop culture and social media as a means of literacy. They learn from it, and they themselves create it. Youth culture today is about standing up for what you believe in, creating resistance and revolution. The article on Gender Identity and Politics of Refusal by Miller talks about how students choose names and pronouns for themselves. They stand up against the norm and create a non-homogeneous culture. This is also seen in media where youth are creating their own identities and presenting it to the world through YouTube. All of this in itself is a form of literacy towards a better, non-homogeneous world that accepts everyone for who they are. It just takes time, and youth are the ones that will revolutionize it. Part of this week's module, challenge what you know about language and literacy in the science classroom. This is a much different world from what I grew up in. As talked about in the lecture video, the best teaching practices are the ones that involve the incorporation of culture into the classroom. Science is very dynamic, and we encourage students to think about what makes something that way and why it is that way. This is part of critical thinking. In Bell Hook's video, she mentions that students learn literacy through media, but the biggest thing we can give students is to think critically. This translated into thinking critically about words that are used in media and text. How we question things in science classroom extends to how we question things on TV or in videos. This in turn will create lingo in speech that youth culture creates for themselves. So really, is this what youth want their speech to mean because they are the ones shaping the future? How can I apply some of the insights from this week's module to my future teachings? There was actually a lot to unpack from this module. A few takeaways I can incorporate into my teaching practice are to allow students to give their own names and pronouns, to use inclusive terminology when speaking to the class or in the hallways. So not just saying, hey guys, when there's a group of guys, girls, or non-binary. To make sure students know it's okay to be flexible in your gender. So you decide today you're a boy and later you decide you might identify more as a girl. That's okay too. I also have to embrace the changing world from what I grew up knowing, where everything was static. Life is very dynamic today, and if I embrace and build on it, then it's better for my students' psychological, social, and academic well-being. I also need to incorporate pop culture and media into my future practice. According to Neely, the best way to start is by using the story method. This stands for survey, talk, observe, research, reflection, and integrate. You first survey your students by giving them a questionnaire on their interests. Next, you talk to them to expand your understanding. You then observe the classroom and hallways by listening and looking. You take mental note of logos or magazines that they are reading. Now you have some background knowledge that you can start researching for different pop cultures to incorporate into your lessons. You then reflect upon your own practice to improve your student teachings. And finally, you integrate it into your lessons. By using the story method, it gives a good starting point for incorporating youth culture into the classroom. By using the story method, it gives me a good starting point to create assignments where students are allowed to express themselves through media. Allowing creativity and assignments changes the curriculum from a homogeneous standpoint, a lecture and multiple choice quizzes, to something that students can get excited about and want to participate in. Youth culture is strongly intertwined with the media, so it's to my advantage if I incorporate these into my teachings.